Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Plants vs. Zombies discussion vlog. My name is Dave Does Gaming. For today, I'm going to be talking about why we should have a Plants vs. Zombies game with a narrative-driven story. Now, this is something that fans have been asking for since the beginning of the Garden Warfare series. But the developers at PopCap have never given any word to it. I'll explain from their perspective. Whenever being directly asked about whether a campaign mode would be added to Garden Warfare 2, the producers would not give a word on it. Clearly, they're under contract to not say anything about a campaign mode. Because, at this time, I have doubt that they actually have any plans on working on a campaign. The idea sounds very cool, but I don't think it's very practical with them. Now, it wouldn't be unfair that we're not getting any campaign mode anytime soon. These guys are hard at work in Seattle making Garden Warfare 2 the greatest entry in the PvZ franchise yet. So cut some slack on them, please. In the gaming world these days, a narrative-driven game is hard to come by. So many shooters, notoriously Star Wars Battlefront and Halo 5 Guardians, have had their production centered more around the multiplayer aspect than the single-player aspect. They are just so online-driven, and that frustrates me. Battlefront's excuse for not including a campaign was that, quote, no one would play it. Quote, that's because the developers didn't want to devote their time to working on it, and they were on a tight schedule from the start if they were going to release the game before The Force Awakens gets released this December. For the original Garden Warfare, it was obvious, because it had no story within the PvZ franchise at the time to take inspiration from. Anyway, I personally think that a story mode will be very good for the series. I'm not saying it should be made, but for all intents and purposes, it would be very interesting to see a narrative surrounding key events in the war between the plants and the zombies. With that said, I want to go further into detail on why we deserve a story in any future PvZ game with 5 key points. 1. Characters. So many interesting characters have been introduced to us in the past, but we don't see much development in them. 2. Locations. We've been introduced to battlefields in Garden Warfare and PvZ 2 that would state that they are the locations of where major events unfolded. For example, this would include the Garden Warfare maps Cactus Canyon, Walnut Hills, and Zomboss Estate. But we don't get to see these stories in action. Why is Crazy Dave's mansion so important? How did the Zomblimp get shot down in Cactus Canyon? What kind of scheming is Zomboss up to in his mansion? The sad truth is, we may never know. 3. The introduction of new characters and factions. Does this franchise have to remain exclusive to the plants and the zombies? I don't think it should for the entirety of this series. 4. And most importantly, the human element. Something I gripe about in the PvZ games is the lack of human presence. I know there are those characters in the comics, but in the games, their presence is void. So do plants really have to be the only ones fighting for suburbia? Couldn't the suburbanites fend for themselves? And wouldn't they feel that they need some sense of self-identity and take a stand against the zombies with the plants? 5. Renewed interest. Surely a storyless series would lose its steam somehow in the near future. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but think of the possibility. People are going to get tired of playing what they perceive to be the same thing over and over again. That is, if PvZ takes the FIFA route. If that is true, then, at its present course, dare I say it, Plants vs. Zombies is going nowhere. Currently, PopCap is exporting PvZ merchandise around the globe, in the form of Burger King antiques, popcorn, a Carowinds attraction, you name it. But people just want more, right? PopCap and their EA parent company should do much more to draw in more people to love the series. That's what is key. So there you have it, my reasons on why we should have a story-driven PvZ game. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section below. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Thank you all for being supportive of me and my channel, as I think it's off to a great start with a big future ahead. My name is Dave Does Gaming, and I'll catch you all later.